Hello and welcome along to the first of two special Champion Sports Chat podcasts coming to you this week. The focus is on 1995, that long hot summer when Biddy Early was finally put to rest and the banner brought Liam McCarthy home after that absence of 81 long years. The lack of live sport has seen people delving back into the archives, and indeed 1995 will always come to the surface here in Clare. Over the course of the next night or two we'll be hearing from some of those involved. Some we've heard from quite a bit, others not at all, so do stay tuned and we will bring you more of that as we go on. Tonight's episode we're talking to the captain, the enigmatic character from Clarecastle that is of course Anthony Daly. I started by asking him, did it feel like 25 years since that famous few months?
Jesus, it's hard. Yeah, sometimes it does, and sometimes it's hard to remember things. And then someone will remind you. There's some lads on the panel that just have amazing memories. I probably not too bad on things, but you felt like Fergal Haggerty, like you could ask him, like, remember that day, the day after the All Ireland, or you could contact him. You felt like him. That would be great, man, to remember stuff. And other lads, and some other lads, they wouldn't have to be all a blur nearly, at this stage. So I'm middling, I'd say. Sometimes it seems yonks ago, and then we were having meetings up to this current crisis, about the 25-year reunion and meeting up with all the lads. It was like as if you were meeting them maybe the day of the game, beside the West County having a meeting, and maybe 18 or 19 of us turning up, like, or, they were available on a given night, and it was gas just to meet the lads again, like the chaplains up from the bridge, and Conor Cancian from Kimeli, and just Jamaroni and from the middles and fingers, and so gas, I suppose. It's a funny one there. 25 years, jeez, where does the time go?
Yeah, and one thing that seems to have really stuck is that the panel are kind of as close now as you were back then.
Unreal, yeah. One of those meetings went slightly astray there, I tell you, in the planning for a bit of fundraising. To see we have a good weekend, the weekend of the All Ireland. That might never now happen, but someone said we would go for one to the halfway. There'd be a lot of wives and even children at this stage call to say, will you come in and collect me there? So, yeah, sure, lads get on great, like they do. It's just, that's the brilliance of it, that when you meet, you lose maybe contact with a friend for a while, but if it's a true friend, it doesn't really matter, because you just catch up where you left off and off where you are again, like as if you'd met 3 times the previous week. And that's, even those nights out, a few meetings we had, we'd only 2 or 3 of them, but lads just off talking about stuff like they were 25 years ago, so good crack, yeah. And fellas have gone in different directions, obviously, and a few moved away. Not too many now, nearly the farthest away probably is Ali, like, and he's only up in Athlone, so no, mostly lads are based around the place, so it's good that way. Frank is up in Oranmore, so it's only down the road for him, and so no fellas are around, and we try and keep the old game of golf going, and hopefully before Christmas, if nothing else happens.
That bond, Anthony, like, how much of a part did that play along with the hurling back then?
Yeah, well, I suppose it was easy talk in hindsight there, you can look back and the 3 Munsters and 2 All Irelands and say, very unlucky maybe not to get a 3rd All Ireland bus. And then it's all, it was the bond that made us in that, but like, we'd gone down and indeed gone down to 5 Munster final. I honestly don't think Limerick were on the ball that day. They probably just thought we'd flopped again. We were very much on the ball, like, no doubt. We were going to make an unmerciful battle of it, but as it turned out, they weren't ready at all, really, mentally or physically, to be honest. If you watch it again there, over the last few weeks, just get a chance to look back at a few games, and sure, lads were running away from their lads in the second half. We were that ready, so we probably might have won it anyway, but once you win, of course, you can look back and say, we had a savage bond, and that's what brought us over the line. But I suppose we had suffered together as well, a lot of us in 93 and 94, and the whole, your big day chokers and people nearly turning their faces away from you, like, I remember coming back to Clarecastle after Munster finals, hammered, and even we came back to the league final in 95, and we went in for a pint and looking away, like we were there in our Clare blazers on our Clare ties and such, like it just, maybe that was all character forming as well, though, because you either gave it up and said, I'm not bothered with this anymore because just too painful for me, and I'd rather get on with normal life and hurl away with my club, or you stuck with it and kept dreaming the dream and I suppose then that means that if you did do that, you had a bond, and so then when the victories came, I suppose you do look back and say that bond, is forged from maybe the defeats as well as the bad days as well as the good days.
Yeah, and I know that the word belief, Anthony, meant a lot to you as well, because I think I heard you on some podcast there lately talking about a particular meeting with Lynn Gaynor where he came in and said, I'm here to win Munster, and you said that that's what you needed to hear. But what struck me is that you needed to hear it from somebody else. That belief within yourself seemed to be just needing a little kick up the arse maybe at the time.
Yeah, well, people weren't talking that sort of talk there, you know what I mean? To nearly be laughed at if you mentioned winning the Munster Championship. I meant it in a great way about Eamon Long, because Eamon was pragmatic, and he had come back to live in his native Scariff from having hurled with Fogs in Dublin for years and been involved with them as chairman and all that. And Eamon came in and said, "Jeez, this is so bad," and it was so bad. Around 88, 89, there seemed to be no chance at all. I remember that hiding in '89, we were saying, where could this be picked up from? And that group came together then with Tony Kelly and Puddin, Lord of Mercy him as well, and Eamon, they died close enough to each other there a number of weeks back. But Eamon was saying, we'll back in the jersey anyway, number one, lads. And that was very relevant, and I was thrilled to hear that. But that season ended, and we got promoted all right with Tony, but then we took a bit of a clipping again off Limerick in the park, and he just said, championship boys, how far off it? Limerick clipping you. Limerick weren't winning Munsters either, so you were saying, Jesus, Cork and Tip, how far ahead are they? Because Tip had come with that Babs team, and they didn't look like they were going anywhere with, the likes of Leahy, Conor Bonner and Declan Ryan, and these guys being so young, and Cork seemed to be able to pick them off the trees, at the time. So, I just wondered what was all this about, this inter-county stuff, and great honour, and obviously, all that. But I have to say, again, or coming along, that kind of, he believed he was going to make stuff happen here, and he did. And for me, I needed to hear that sort of thing. This isn't just about, I played for Clare for 10 years and never won nothing, and I got one Division 1B league medal, and I got to one National League final and lost it, and I didn't see that. And certainly that new brigade then that came behind us, that Johan, Jamesy, Shawnee, Clancy, Davy, Rusty, all those guys, they believe, they're good teams that, they played each other in happy finals. Fantastic under 21 team in '92, so unlucky Miners that were in the final in '89. They had that extra bit of belief that possibly my, South Fergie, Fingers, Scarrow, all these fellas, Dyler probably didn't have, so. Yeah, but that was, I needed to hear that sort of stuff from a fella like King Gaynor, who had done it all, and even as a manager had managed Kilruan to win an All-Ireland club. So, and by the way, he was talking as well, this was fire, and it was really stuffing him, and we were going to go up a notch, everything, training, all standards were going to be increased, and that's what I wanted to hear, to be honest with you, whether that was about belief or it was about just giving ourselves the best possible chance, and that's what I wanted, I didn't say that we were giving ourselves the best possible chance, so that's where that kind of Lindsay, that clicked with me, I suppose.
Yeah, and I suppose an interesting dynamic that I'd love to get your thoughts on is the fact that obviously Ger worked with Lynn, right? But was there ever a sense of the Ger that worked under Lynn that the Ger that would go out on his own would become the man that he did? Or was there an inkling there that he was kind of nearly shaping himself to have that crack off he?
There was, yeah. Lynn, in especially '94, he gave over a lot of the training to him. He used to like to do the training himself, and he did that for the previous 3 years, he did most of the training. And, he just handed a lot of that over to Loughnane in '94. And so the hurling training kind of went up a lot of notches, to be honest. Loughnane was the driven lunatic. Now, he even got worse afterwards, of course. But he still had to go by whatever. I suppose Lynn was the manager, and Lynn wanted a certain thing worked on. So there probably was an element of frustration for Ger as well, and that he wasn't his own boss, and we know, sure, he wanted to be the boss, and that was it, bit like Cody that way, one boss, and that's it. And so I suppose there was an element of frustration, but there was no doubt that you could sense that this guy's level of hurling training was all about speed up your hurling, just get your hurling to another level when you have to, you've no other chance. I know, to come out and beat Tip in '94 after what happened, it was great. And look, we were a good bit better in 94 Munster final than we were in 93. I know now people say you were betting 11, like, oh, you were betting 18 the year before, you were a bit better, but you were still useless. But no, like, for me at half time, that match was still there for the winning, like, and so frustrated, like, I disagreed with a couple of the changes that were made, and that was just a personal opinion. It wasn't for me to be talking about changes, like, but there was a bit of disbelief in the dressing room with one change at half time, and yeah, just went the way it was. There was no back door, but we certainly had improved a whole pile. And then he had obviously the agreement that he would go back involved. I think there was a bit of controversy after 92, the under 21 and that. There was a disagreement with the board anyway. Just the full details of now I can't just top my head now. But what he had gone back in 94 was that Lynn would have 4 years done, and then he'd go involved with him. But then that he'd be, taking over as manager for the 95 season. So, yeah, you did get a sense that when this guy took over, it'd be different. But, we won the championship in 94, so we missed the first few weeks of this animal training and cushion and this skill, So, I remember meeting Shawnee uptown there one of the days. I don't know, he was probably home from college or whatever, and I said, this man is unbelievable. Keep going as long as you can in the Munster competition. So you did know, you were saying it to the guys that got concentrated, speculating would there be 3, 4 or 5 was involved or whatever, and you're saying, geez, I heard this train has gone savage, and of course you'd like to spend now, and I won't be there now, It wasn't really his cup of tea, but very quickly when Clúmi Vara beat us, it was a bit agonising defeat as well, one we could have won, and very quickly, we were kind of inclined to say we take that week anyway, and I think I was nominated by the boys to give him a ring up down around the Tuesday. We if we wanted, like whoever's wanted, we'd be back. He had made contact to say, would you come into training there, or whatever, 60 or 70, I don't know how many was initially invited. But I think I made a call and out to the school in Shannon, St. Aidan's, and be told being Cusheen Thursday night or don't come at all. That message goes straight away down the phone that day. I was saying, Jesus, I'm dealing with a different animal here, I don't really know decision made on who his captain was going to be or whatever. He'd been the captain the previous year, but I'm sure after the 2 beatings we got in the Munster finals, he must have thought about putting someone new in as captain, but he left me at it anyway, and I suppose I was kind of to go between the players and himself to some extent, that there was no real go between, like, it was his way or no way, but if someone wants to approach, I was usually nominated to be that person. You did answer your question, so I'm not rambling too much, but you did get that sense that when he got the wins the following year, by Jesus, he was going to even, he was going to absolutely do it his own way. As I said, Lynn was still the manager, and so well respected by everybody, including Jerry,
Yeah. Your own dynamic, or the way that you'd approach your game when you were made captain, did it change any of it?
No, because I had been the captain myself since poor Tommy got his finger in the lawnmower in 92, and that was just a quick in and out. Just as we drawn her into against Waterford and beaten in a painful one. We were making a bit of progress under Lynn and beating a pint, I think, below Thurles in the replay, and even any kind of a scalp at that stage would have been great. So, no, I didn't ever let the captaincy kind of burden me. I just kind of, it meant a little bit of extra talk and a little bit of extra effort in terms of young lads coming in, that you'd make an effort to talk to them and get to know them, and you go back into the shower there after a savage session in Cusheen there, instead of going over and sitting with Tui or Sparrow or fellas like Cyril or Jim Mack or anything that we'd known in a long time, you'd make your way over to like the Hegarty or Taff or Steve Mack or Ollie and these guys that we wouldn't have known that well. So that was really. But I think there was a lot of guys willing to do that as well. They all welcomed in this new influx of guys again. Frank, Ollie, these fellas. That the younger brigade again. Hago, as I said, Stephen Mack and Taff and those. So yeah. No, I didn't change really anything. To be honest with you, as I said with Duckman, did he hardly even need a captain, to be honest? So you just had to draw the line the same as everyone else, and it was the odd bit of stuff that he would consult with me about, but everyone's major opinions, to be honest. He's made up. He might use you as a sounding board, you know. He had something made up his mind, but he just said, how would it go down? So he might say it to me, and you know, she's glad to be delighted with that. Or that might just, I don't know if he ever changed anything because of what I thought. Anyway, I'm not so sure, you know. But look, that was just a privilege and an honour, I suppose, to be captain of that bunch, and it was a great honour for the family and the club as well, you know. To captain the Clare at any time, fantastic honour for guys.
Absolutely, and of course you weren't the only one in the family that had done that, so I suppose you had that bit of background as well. Talk to me a little bit about these new morning training sessions that he introduced. I was watching that documentary there lately that I think your own man was doorstepped at one stage on it, but like what struck me was there was a clip of Jamesy and Cyril Lyons pulling into the park, and well, first of all what struck me was it was 95 and Jamesy had a 95 car, so Flannan's was obviously going quite well, but I mean they seem to almost be kind of bleary-eyed going in and going, Jesus, what are we doing this hour of the morning, like?
Yeah, well, obviously with the documentary, that was about 6 o'clock in the evening. that was all stage stuff, like, you know. There was lads saying, like, you know, this was meant to be the hottest summer we ever got, and there was a load of leaves around the cars. You know, so look, that documentary was obviously made afterwards. So yeah, but no, they did happen. You know, they did happen. Yeah, it was mad. It was mad. Yeah, just being told, lads, everyone in Clare tomorrow morning, 5:45. Ball, you know, whistle a bit low and start the session at 2 minutes to 6. So, you know, start the morning, like you're saying, you know, it was a shock to the system, yeah. But that didn't come in really, like, you know, this time of the year, you know, when the clocks went back and, you know, the weather was getting that a little bit milder. I suppose we've done an awful lot of the garden was done just in the dark, and you know, Crusheen and Shannon and that kind of thing. So that stuff really didn't come in. Maybe there was the odd old morning session now at weekends when we were still doing the dogging, but not that many anyway. But it was really only when the hurling came in and you were into the park as well, which was great. Like, I mean, some of it, you know, when it was over then and you had a bit of breakfast in the show, would you be delighted with yourself there? You know, you used to say, what I do for the day, and someone say, we go for game of golf, you know. So you hadn't a session hanging over you that evening either, and once you got used to it was grand. You know, we used to have good old crack as well. Like, you'd be half sleepy going in, and your Mike would be abusing lads, but he'd be having the crack as well, you know. You know, we out last night, Fergie. You know, this crack, I was, Mike. A famous one with 2 eating stuff. We all do the stretching one morning, I'd say about 10 to 6, and you know, last night so we eat. I was Mike, Fergie. Where are you, Fergie? Cinema Mike, what you go and see? Liar, so two of you up on the ground. Like, you know, liar was out around then, like, you know. Yeah, sure, the players would be bursting laughing there, like, you know, and that would set the tone for what would be a great session. Then your man would come in with a big snarl looking and say, come on, get down to it, and just be savage from there on in, and you just had to go toe to toe with everything, and wait for 8 o'clock to come or whatever, you know. And you'd be having the breakfast and you'd be saying to fingers have been much to do today. I have a full day to do up over the roof and all that. I go back to bed. You know, so that was, yeah. You know, I think Fingers just get the worst of that. Like he was physically working. There wasn't too many rest of us, you know, between working in banks and students and teachers and whatever you had. There was a lot of suits involved. But Fingers, like, he was putting it down hard. Jim McInerney used to tell us he was putting it down hard as well with the farming, but we never really believed him.
Talk to me a bit, Anthony, about that dynamic with the management, because you mentioned the two, Mike and Tony, obviously, and there was that famous story you told as well about the 8-1 docket that was cashed in below on Kerry somewhere. Like, but it seemed as if that there was that perfect mixture of the lads to have the crack and then Loughnane to crack the whip.
Yeah, and like, you know, like Mac was telling me, look, we've spoken about Loughnane and how vicious he was in the field. You could say anything to you, to be honest, you were going to bed, you could search up to your eyeballs and you had to take it or go way out the gate. Like, that was it, you know, and you were going to take it on board and try and improve. That was the challenge for you. But yeah, Mike was savage as well, like, you know, and like, just brutal, like, below on that hill, like, and you're not able to wag. But then players the Mac, like, he just had this gift of always doing something funny at the right time, like, you know. Tara would be after ducking out of maybe 3 or 4 runs up the hill, like, behind the bushes, pretending he was getting sick. And he probably was getting sick too, like, he wasn't there for that, but he wasn't built for it. But you know, he'd come out in and he'd win his group. You know, we'd been groups of 4 or 5. He'd come out, he wouldn't have gone up with like 3 or 4 times. And we'd have done every one of them. The next thing started being your group, the bottom of the hill, you up to the top of the hill. Sherlock, that's a tremendous run. You know, the rest of us looking at the bollocks to Mike. You know, and that'll do me now for 1 or 2 more starts there. So there was always that crack with him. And then Tony, sure, you know, Tony, sure, that's Tony just being himself, like, you know, that was up for the crack, sure. And a great crack over the shower afterwards, you know, he'd make his way around every table and he'd have a joke and he'd be big with the boys filling the cones. But then when the drills were going on, as I said, like, I can't sign to be out in the field as well, roaring everyone on faster, you know, and not good enough, better touch this time. And, you know, he'd be right in with your man, where probably Mike didn't do much when the hurling was on, only kind of like he'd do all the warm-ups and any bit of running that had to be done might come back in balls, but Tony was nearly out in the field all the time with her. So yeah, that was the dynamic, I suppose, the three of them. And Cullum as well then, like, was a huge part of it. You know, Cullum was like a psychiatrist for us all. Like, you know, you'd get in early for a rug with Cullum, there'd be 3 or 4 inside. Cullum, like, you know, you'd be nearly asking Cullum, did Loughnane say anything about the way you were going, or, you know. There would be a match on the Tuesday night, like, and you could have got cleaned by James or someone, you know, Fingers or one of them, and you could be saying to Cullum, is your man thick, is he? So, like, Flynn had a huge part to play in the whole thing as well, you know. In that sense, he was very much, I would have seen as kind of the fourth selector in lots of ways. He probably might have had some say too, for all I know, like, because they'd be all close, but he was a great sounding board as well. So it was a good dynamic, like, and yes, Loughnane was the boss, and you were very, very clear on that, like, that while the lads were all, you know, they were the management and very important, all of them, but he was the gaffer. Like, I think that's what he, you know, after 94, he was coming in and he was doing it his way, whether it won or whether it lost. He had a plan and he was going to do this, and for all of us, our sakes, and everyone in Clare, so that it work out. So that was the dynamic, I suppose. It was great. He was brilliant, like, you know. But if we had lost that third Munster final in a row, who knows what would have happened, even with individuals there, like, you know, they were, fellas were kind of saying, go down to that one, it's do or die, like, in lots of ways, you know. So, but look, the results are everything. Like, I'm doing a bit, tell you the truth, on Brian Cody there at the moment for an old article I'm writing, and, you know, 1976, Kilkenny beat us in the league final, and they were installed as All-Ireland favourites straight away, and they had won it in 74 and 5, like, and Wexford beat them by 17 points in the Leinster final, like 17, like one less than what we were beaten in the massacre of the Gaelic grounds that people refer to. So it's gas. If you win, and all that stuff is forgotten, Derek, isn't it? You know, winning is everything. Like, you see it there with the soccer and the rugby, and once the results are okay, there's not much questions. You know, so thank God we got the win, and no one was questioning anything then after that. Like, we were free men, I suppose, after that, because we lifted that kind of a hoodoo that everyone thought was on top of it.
Yeah, in many respects, so is that goal against Cork the turning point of the year, do you think?
Not really for me, no, but it could have gone against us now very easily. She got a frenetic finish. Now, I think we were the better team overall. And then he got myself now the same day to the surface from against most of the final. I was struggling out as a wing back after I'd been corner the previous 3 years and full even in 93. But not so much for me now. It was the Munster final. Like, the semi-finals, fair enough, you had to win it to get into it. But I mean, the do or die day for me was, you know, were to have beaten us that day. I'm not so sure that would have been as devastating as losing the third final again. You know what I'm saying? You know, it was really, the real pressure was on the final. Now look what happened at the end of the Cup game was, you know, magical and mystical as well. I mean, you know, even after the drama of Tui being allowed to play on ball, like, you know, when they hit me the street as another and Baker, we got some mystery to wing forward, corner forward, I think, getting a touch on it, like. But you know, all that then, what's forgotten is the ball down off the post, into Kevin Murray's hand, and Frank comes out of nowhere, as you meant, about to bury it in past 50, and from point blank range, Frank comes out of nowhere and flicks it. You know, and I think it just fell at my feet, and the only puck I got in the second half, I think. And I was over, I hit it over the wing, and Toots got it, and he went off on a solo run. Yeah, that was frenetic, and that was great. But I was in no mood for celebrating after that match, I can tell you, you know. just a couple of points that night and couldn't wait to get down on Tuesday night because it wasn't about that day. Like we had been through the old days, semi-finals. It was about winning the Munster finals. That was it.
Yeah, and and you've been consistent on this always, that the Munster final was nearly a bigger and better day than the All-Ireland.
Also, way more important, like I think to a man, we would tell you, like, personally struggled to make a selection on that day. I got it out some way, but I was that emotional, to be honest with you. It's a no-brainer, really, just simply for me. I know nothing about losing Ireland semi-finals or Ireland finals, but I knew all about losing Munster finals as a player and as a spectator and a massive supporter of the great teams in the late 70s and the early 80s up to the agony of 86 below in Clare. How good they played on that day and didn't get the job done, and same at 78, although neither team played great in 78, I suppose, but we were so close, still behind 2 points, but so that was the day. That was, I remember me going up the steps. I probably got a few tickets for a few people. My brother Martin, his father-in-law Jimmy Clancy, great older man, would have followed Clare down through the decades. Now he's passed away now. But meeting him and he's bawling, crying like Jimmy was, and I wouldn't have known Jimmy that well. Only meeting at funeral functions and obviously weddings and engagement parties and stuff. But just what it meant to a fella like him, who knew he mightn't see a whole pile more of them, but to see that all day, he would have been there in 55 that day, imagine beating Cork and Tip and then losing to Korean lads in Limerick, so just as if there was a course. I never really believed in that, we were probably just worried, were we just chokers on big days? Well, look, man had all that down to that TV there as well. He was very conscious. Unless he opened up about all that was in his mind, no one will ever really know. But all the distractions were taken away that year. There was no messing with tickets. You got that done out of the way. Someone else to do it for you, whether it be the girlfriend or a brother or a sister. Not to deal. If he found out you sold 2 tickets to some fella that you were friendly with, you did damage. So all that stuff was all taken out of our hands, and it was just full focus on when Johnny McDonald threw in that skitter at half-3 and told us we were going to be unmercifully ready to perform. We weren't really asked to win it even, which was the key, and that's obviously modern sports psychology would be always about that as well. Don't focus on winning, just focus on performing. And that was the big thing that this year, I suppose, the 2 words you used in that dressing room at half-time were no surrender, so, and that was the attitude going down. It was kind of a no surrender day. We surrendered the previous 2 years and surrendered badly, and we weren't doing it this time. If they were good enough to beat us, and they weren't good enough to beat us, and they weren't even ready for us, to be honest with you. So yeah, it was meticulously planned, I have to say, by the management as well. The approach, everything right, out to Cashel in the morning, and even the buzz in the pitch in Cashel, before we got back onto the bus to go into Thurles, we just go for a bit of a run and we'd speed it up. We'd go 80% up to 90 and then flat out. We'd have stretched beforehand, obviously, and had a few pucks and all that. So that was the last run before we go in. And I was saying to the boys, there's some power in this unit, lads. If Clare are good enough to stop this bunch of fellas, they're a fair team, And sure, they were a fair team. They were very unlucky not doing 2 All-Ireland same times ourselves. So yeah, look, if we were ready, 100% ready for that day.
And how much then of the pressure valve that was released that day kind of led on to what you did after? Was it seen as nearly a free cut in All-Ireland, or was that level of meticulous that you talked about with Ger kept and maintained right throughout?
Yeah, well, what I'd say there is, it was this whole liberating thing, and that week was just magic to bring the cup to every parish in the county nearly, while the hurling areas, we got around to the football trip before Christmas, I think, with the great one. We wound up in Lisdoonvarn in a hotel, but no, look, it was just, the big thing was, would we settle for that, because look, we would have been fated and everything, and we might have been, getting county council civic receptions as we got after winning the All-Ireland anyway, because people had been waiting since 32 and all the heartbreaking defeats along the way, and false dawns, as the fella said. So, the big, I've said this as well, the biggest stroke of management that, I think ever pulled out was getting our head back on that semi-final, to be honest, because the first couple of sessions, one was with Mike. It was just a flogging session down in Clare, and big crowd of 600 people around the field. Fellas after flicking, bidding it up for the week. Now you can imagine, like, Jesus, and the crowd looking at you like. So that was a bit of a grounder, number one. And he didn't even open his mouth to say, "Mike, come in." He just let Mac loose, like, and Mac was ready for it, and went loose. And then we went in training, I think, on the Tuesday night afterwards. I think that was the weekend off, I think, and said, "Look, what I saw out that night isn't going to beat Galway in Croke Park." And then we went in, I think it was the Tuesday night. I could be wrong now, there are 25 years of what night it was, maybe it was the Sunday, but we definitely had a few days in it from the Friday anyway to this session. But the mask was pouring, and all that happened was the whistle was blowing. Dressing room, he said, well, he came in, and he just savaged us like that. He started with me, of course, and I'm going to start with the captain. He says, disgrace Friday night, a disgrace out there tonight, and absolutely went through me. And poor old Stephen Mack had a genuine stomach bug, and had come in his clothes, come in his suit. I think he was working, whatever he was working for the summer. And he just standing there, he's short and tiny and whatever, and he finished up around the room, like he spared no one, right around the room, like nobody got off. Lohan got it, Johnny got it, James, he got it, James, he living like a monk for the week, so he's probably stretching and back at the beach and everything else. But he just finished up with Steve Mack, and he gave him a poke, no, a bit more than a poke, nearly a semi-punch into his stomach, and said, "Sick Mac, sick is coming out of Croke Park, beaten." I tell you, we're back out onto the field anyway. I think I was knocking fingers, and he said, "Jeez, we got bad. I see, we'll be ready though." I said, "For 3 weeks time, and Jesus, when we ready, like then again, so that was a master stroke, I have to say, that night. It wasn't easy listening to it, but everyone got it. He didn't just pick out a few, everyone got it, and he spent 20 minutes inside absolutely tearing us asunder, like we were going to make a show of ourselves now after creating history, and look at the chance that was out in front of us. I mean, everyone knew that probably off we were going to beat down in the semi-final, and it was Galway and Offaly. Traditionally, nothing to be feared. It wasn't Kilkenny waiting for us in the semi-final. So that was huge as well. That look at the chance that he got to let this slip by, and of course the brains of him again. Of course he knew the chance might never come as good again. So yeah, even though I'm not underestimating, there's a very good Galway team that been in the final in '93, and we're very unlucky. And sure, Offaly were after putting on a display in that Munster or Leinster final in the rain against Kilkenny that people still talk about. But yeah, that was a key night. That was a key night because we were back out and literally leathered each other, and he let everything go. The whistle was just turned away. I didn't even take it out of his pocket. But yeah, that set the tone then. And once we were back in flow. There wasn't mention of bringing Munster Cup anywhere, or pictures, or doing anything. It was just total focus on Galway. And of course, we had such work done in when the Galway game came, like with the heat that day. It was an incredibly warm day I ever heard, I think. And with the atmosphere and everything, and it was a brilliant thing because I remember being up at this footballer semi-final and to see the Clare team run out that day, and all of us, cheering, waving flags, and she said, could that ever be us someday? So then we were really tuned in, and we were going to give it absolutely our best in Croke once we got there.
Yeah, and that mental side of it, like you go back to that Galway game, Sparrow gets the goal to the important stages, but even the final against Offaly, then I mean the Dykeman's goal before half time, fortunate to say the least, and all that broke with it right up to those closing minutes. Like, how much of those kind of nights in Clare that you described were what you leaned back on then when things got tough in those two particular games, particularly I suppose the Offaly one?
It's probably that, you don't really think back to Clare or the Hill and Shannon and at moments like that. It's nearly in your subconscious at that stage that, we have walked like absolute demons for this, and we are not letting this pass us. No matter what misfortune comes over us, we are not letting this get away. And also by that stage there was an incredible belief that it was going to happen for us, that no matter what, like even on the Saturday, Sparrow down to the Clare, we were really passing around killing time. I think we were in the jacuzzi or something like that, and we were just chatting, and I said, "What a minute, he'd be more, he'd be more careful than me, like on stuff like that." He's like, "After 7 now, tune in, you're on game, don't worry about that," and that kind of thing. So, but like there was no doubt about it leading up that morning, like the whole group together and down to Shannon, and we couldn't get the bus, couldn't get into the hotel, in or out of the hotel in Shannon, and we went back to the airport, and you ran without lift the gate, he'd set from back, and he constantly without lift the gate after hinges, like. So that's it was just a belief there, I guess, that Jesus just can't, like, as we said at half time, nothing was going to stop us. And even when Johnny Pilkington got the second goal, I remember running back out the field, and the canal end came back to life again within a couple of seconds, and started, cheering us on again, and that something good was going to happen. Somehow we were going to pull it out. For all the other times, Clear, some bloody misfortune was going to come and deny us, So yeah, incredible the difference in attitude that the victories, and especially winning the semi-final as well, beating a very good Galway team as well, like. They haven't come through that and winning Munster, that you had to believe, even though often we were the champions and we really looked to be at the peak of their powers under Cregan. We just felt it was our time and we were going to take it, I think. So that was, the work. You see, you don't think about all the work you did once you have it done. The thing is, like Sean used to often say in the dressing room, lads, when you're having no shave from the morning there or whatever, one good look at yourself in the mirror and say, I've the work done, and look, let me at it now, because all I can do is give my best. And that was our attitude, like, so I think subconsciously more than anything that that was just thrown in with all the hard work we had done, that this was our time and it was our time to take it. So I think that's what stood to us really, especially after the Pilkington goal. Like, there was loads of time after the Dygan goal, half time, and Sparrow got a point before half time, just to get us back and got the crowd back on our side. And as we ran down the tunnel, they were back cheering, and weren't out of it by any means, but the Pilkington goals could have really have killed you, because you're very unaware of time when you're on the field, as we later found out 3 years later. You sense God at the end is coming, when a goal like that, and you sense Joe starting to get into positions and things, so that was the real one, where the real belief, I think, was tested at that stage. I don't even think half time 50 was a bit down, but we were all onto him straight away. That, Jesus, we wouldn't be there only for him. Jesus, he gone up and stuck the penalty against Limerick in the Munster final. Come on, we need you now for 35 minutes, and he was perfect again after about 2 minutes. So I think it was the second goal was the real test. What could we do then? When it was like this was coming up the 18th in the Masters or something. Do you know what I mean? Neck to neck with some crowd, and then could you have the mental and that fortitude to go through and pull it out? And we did, thank God. So as I said, Derek, it's lovely looking back. We haven't done it.
You mentioned at the start there, Anthony, that somehow Fergie too, he found himself over a line ball against Cork. How did Anthony Daly find himself over those 2 late long range frees?
Oh, sure, Derek, the fellas are sick of hearing me now talking about that, but after looking, I tell you the truth, I said it straight out, I hadn't the puck got after 6 or 7 minutes. I think I pulled on one ball, missed it, maybe just a clash ball with Johnny Daly myself, and nothing much happened, and we got a free way back, and I used to love the hurley I had. I had it for years, to talk about being prepared and minded that hurley. But I hit this free, and if you watch it even just very early in the game, Jesus, I just got all the way over for a second, but it was probably just too far. But it went right into the edge of the square, and Charles nearly touched it, and just Keenan and hooshed him out, and I went in and right into the goalie, David Hughes' hands, and he came out with it out the side. But I suggest no free at all. If anything happens, Johnny, there's no bother. But look, Frank burst out with that ball. I think Billy Dooley dragged him back. He just threw the ball to me and looked over, and I said, and probably saying if I hit the best shot in my life, it to be a point, and that's what I was going for. So, look, drop down, faith, as I said, believe in things to happen for you. Look, man, I give him all the praise all during this, and I said, they're trying to get him off the field and bring on Dave. We're confident about Dave Dublin on the back of the net. You could be confident about getting the ball on the wing and spinning his man, but no one better than Tass in that position, because he's the hands of God, and just felt the right man before they could get the referee's attention to take him off. And he buried it, sure. And then you felt, of course, that it was your day there, when the last 65 came about. I wasn't that certain that time was fully up either, or injury time, or we didn't really know how much was going to happen between that and the end. And because we did get the subsequent other free then. front of the goal. But I just said, no, that isn't the time. But geez, I've often thought afterwards that with a little shudder. Sometimes when I wake up from a bad dream, I often think I've missed that 65. And after they've gone up and got the winner, and everyone is still talking about me 25 years later. Everyone doing the big shots and taking off the best 65 take on the country. But Jesus, no, it wasn't like that though. And even Johnny, like we spoke about that night, we've often spoken about it. He said, no, I knew by you. He said, you weren't going to miss it. I said, Joe, we got a free a week later playing them in the championship in the park, St. Joseph's, and ourselves, I think it was 10 points on or something like that. I had to call out James Healy did it. Placing back down the village after missing it. and James flew over the bar and we beat him and those guests. But the previous week, no, this was the time. This is what you've been dreaming about all your life now, kid. You're 25 years old and go over and take it. So, yeah, thanks to the Jesus that we got. But I knew as soon as we left my hurling, it was all over.
The thoughts there of Clare captain in 1995, Anthony Daly, bringing an end to the first of this week's Clare Champion Sports Chat podcast. Coming up in over 24 hours' time, we will be hearing from two of the three iconic men in the full backline that brought 2 All-Ireland medals to Clare in 95 and 1997. I'll be speaking to Frank Lohan and Michael O'Halloran. That's to come on tomorrow evening's podcast. Do stay tuned.